And there was a real buzz in town, and Scratch had been bubbling and been getting busy, but suddenly it went smack, and it was rammed, and we had more people outside the club trying to get in than that were inside, and that's when we really knew. All these kind of people started coming through, and it was clear at that stage that we were too big for the crossbar, because it didn't really, I mean, we had to beg, borrow and steal ridiculous amounts of speakers and silliness, and it sounded good for 5 minutes, and then something would go wrong. It was just a little bit too mad. So the Scala was just opening up, and the Scala used to be a classic all-night cinema, and it was like, really, it's a really classic building, but it lay dormant for a long, long time, and then they opened it as a club. And actually Sean from Sonic Mook, who's actually got a studio next door to the gallery, came in, and he was doing the booking. He was doing the first booking for the Scala, and he had started, Sonic Mook started on Saturdays, and it's like, look, we've just started booking regular nights, do you want to take a monthly and just move next door? And it was like, Jesus, do we really want to move next door? It's like, I've never been one for moving, and it was like, oh, man. And Rob, who was Scratch partner in crime, we started Scratch together, was like, you know what, I think we should just go for it, let's do it. You know, Sean's got the good energy, it's a brand new space, it's got a fat system, I mean, a really good system, they've got proper stage where you can really do some great stuff, and we had this amazing bar, and because it's a beautiful building, and we can do the art in the bar. So moving next door, you know, quite nervously, really massive space, really went off. It really went off, and we could then get in the bigger eyes. Like, you know, all of a sudden we were having to spend a bit more money. It was quite dangerous, and we were like, oh Jesus. But it started paying off, and people were arriving, and we were getting like, you know, 600, then 700. Next month it'd be more like 850. Before you know it, we were getting in the likes of, we had Cool Herc in there, we had Bombata, Dan the Automator, all the, as I said, the Dilated Peoples. We had then we had like these spontaneous shows that weren't even listed. We had Eminem do one of his first shows in there. We had Farrah Munch play unannounced. We had J. Rue, Macy Grey, Black Eyed Peas. It was clear it was a proper hotspot. It was a real hotspot, and all of a sudden we were like reaching capacity and beyond, and squeezing people in, and it was getting mad. And we had, you know, brilliant projections. A crew called Icon that had been doing our projections before. So we had like mad amounts of like 10 different Super 8 projectors going off with some 16mm loops, and these crazy subway trains going across the room and everything. So it really became like a proper installation. So, you know, that's when it really felt like, okay, we're starting to nail the art and the music and all these kind of beautiful components of the hip-hop culture, and it was like, yeah, the jigsaw has finally really come together. We were doing it well there, but here we can really do it well. Because Angelo Carnio from the B-side, he approached me, and he's done a lot of shows here at the gallery, and approached me. Quite often we'd be outside having a little cigarette because I was working next door, and I was like, I'm doing another show, and you know, I'm doing Lawrence Watson, or I'm doing this, you know, Liam Gallagher show or whatever, and you know, I see it, I love it, oh, it's a great space, you know, I'd love to do this one day. Yeah, I'd love to do this for Scratch, you know, we've got all these eyes, we must have had 100 different eyes. He's like, well look, you know, one day we'll do it. And then I'm chatting to him, and you know, we're having our little outdoor cigarette and chat and da-da-da-da-da. And he said, oh man, you know, you've been talking about that show. I've actually got a window, we might be able to do something. I was like, oh, okay, you know, maybe. When is it? He's like, well, it's like in 8 weeks. I'm like, 8 weeks? Dude, that is not a lot of time. You know, can we pull it off? What should we do? I'd love to do it. Let me have a little think. Scratch is now myself, the crew is myself, Tomsky, Richie Pitch, who's been there from day one, and Lily, who's been there from day one, running Edinburgh Scratch, and you know, he designed the Scratch logo, you know, which has really stood the test of time. And you know, the four of us do it together, and we always DJing together, and we run Scratch as a, you know, as a collaborative project. And we spoke, and it's like, what do you think, guys? You know, I think this would be good, and da-da-da-da. And they're like, yeah, it's be great. You know, and it's like, yeah, okay, let's do it. So I spoke to Angelo, and it's like, yeah, that idea, okay, we can do it. Let's do it. You know, I'll get on the phone and phone a few people up and see what we can do, and da-da-da-da. And anyway, that's kind of how it came to fruition. And it's like, okay, if we're going to do this, I don't want it to be like a really old school, you know, isn't these kind of lovely shows we used to do at Scratch, and oh, you know, how great we were. I wanted it to be something that represented what we've done, but also very much to show where it's going and a progression. So this was a perfect opportunity for us to go and go, okay, let's get all this stuff out, you know, go under the bed, look out for the box of photos, you know, let's get it up. We're going to have the back room just dedicated to a retrospective of Scratch, and just to really show off what we've done and remind ourselves what we've done, but also to share it with people that perhaps weren't there, you know, people like yourself that were, you know, 17 years ago, the club guys, you know, the people that are out about now, you know, they were still in blooming short trousers, you know. And then in the main chunk of the gallery, it's very much dedicated to a new, contemporary, bespoke, aerosol-inspired, like abstract graffiti show. And that's what we wanted to do. It's very much, you know, a small segment about the old, but a larger dedicated chunk to the new. And you know, the majority of the artists have all shown at Scratch in previous years. You know, like Shot One, who's absolutely integral to this, because you know, not only is he putting a great piece, him and Remy Ruff did an amazing piece, like real future piece on the back wall, and Shot also did a fantastic, like, took the logo that Johnny did with the Expo 17, which represents 17 years of Scratch, but actually made the orange blob of it into a piece, and then we put the vinyl on top of it, and it's really nice. It represents, you know, where we're going with it. It represents a real cutting-edge, futuristic, contemporary tone to the event, which is really, really essential. We've got about 17 artists, which include kind of photographers, to make our 17 years, of which we had 17 DJs throughout the 10 days celebrating those 17 years. So it's all been kind of just 17. Nothing to do with just 17, but hey, 17 felt like, you know what, let's do it now. The time was right, let's do it now. 17's good. Hello, my name's Matt Smooth, and I'm from Scratch. This is 2120, and this is Making It in the Industry.